Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you another Kamen Rider Zero review. This time, episodes 7 and 8, the Wizard arc. Specifically, this episode focuses on Kamen Rider Wizard. So, in these episodes, in 2012, the Time Jacker Wool uses his Time Jacker powers to give a man the Kamen Rider Wizard watch, as he wants to use said powers so that he can keep a auditorium's theater up and going to help the woman he loves, at the risk of, unfortunately, losing her to another man, which drives him crazy and causes him to go on a rampage. Meanwhile, Geiz and Sogo fight over how they should use their powers as riders, with Geiz wanting to use it to stop the Time Jackers and prevent Sogo from becoming Kamen Rider Zio with whatever force and power he has, and Sogo, who believes that Kamen Rider powers are used to help people. This all proceeds to combine into Sogo having Geiz and Waz work together, who is implied that have had past history with each other in the year 2086. Was it 2068? No, it's 2068. I don't know why I said 2086. It's 2068 because it's 50 years. Apologies. I've been watching the show for 8 episodes and I can't keep things straight. But anyway, and so using Waz's knowledge as well as Gates' skill, the two of them managed to convince Kamen Rider Beast Nito Kosuke to give him the ride watch after Sogo manages to defeat another wizard long enough for him to be erased so that Kosuke can get his memories back after a brief spar with Kamen Rider Beast. Gates is given the wizard ride watch and he goes back in time to fight another wizard in 2012. After doing so, Sogo uses the power of the Five phones to have the present victim of the another wizard talk to himself in the past, to convince him to tell the woman his feelings and to help change the future for the better. This all ends with Gates and Tsukuyomi discussing the fact that Kamen Rider, or that Sogo may be more dangerous than they actually thought. So yeah, I'm not really a big wizard person. I don't mind the show. I do think it's kind of boring, and I feel like Wizard himself is too overpowered, as he can really easily defeat almost any phantom that comes his way, to the point where there's really no threat to him, basically, which is kind of frustrating of his show. But I mean, it had its moments. Particularly, I liked Kamen Rider Beast in it, and I liked the music of it. I liked the suits. I thought, if nothing else, it had some fun stuff to it. It's not Kamen Rider Ghost bad. I just find it kind of boring. So yeah. In this episode, we learn that even if you don't completely destroy the another rider, defeating it in any moment in time allows a rider to temporarily get his abilities and memories back, which is what allows ride watches to be formed by basically going into the past and giving the rider those watches. When you get to the future and restore their memories, it will give them the power of the watch back, basically making a bond with either Zio or Gates and creating a ride watch that has the power of that rider. It was kind of cool seeing Kosuke back, even though he really doesn't do much, and really he's only there to spar for a short time with Gates. And which was cool to see, but really doesn't really add much to the grand scheme of the episode. I really do like the wizard armor for Gates. I like the fact that it comes out as a ring that folds around him and creates like straps or the shoulder tassels. It was kind of cool, like the ring stuff that they use here. Like particularly the fact that another rider wizard has his since the face of the wizard helmet is actually a ring that wraps around the helmet of the head, with the actual ring jewel right for the face. There's a ring actually that forms around the head. Here it's an actual wizard ring, like with the huge like band in the back, and the face is the jewel. I actually really like the design for another wizard with the skeleton motif, particularly the fact that since the wizard driver was a belt with a hand on it, it's a skeleton hand on the belt for the another rider, and it had like skull pauldrons. But I liked Wizard's version of that. I like the fact that it had like the cloak, and I like that it had like these like cape like slash tassels that had like the kanjis and stuff for Wizard on it. Like, well, not the kanji, the runes that would appear on stuff that Wizard used. I also like the finishers, particularly when used in the Zcon Zax. Um, it created a energy version of the axe, much like some of Wizard's finishers, particularly his finisher for Wizard Infinity, which he had an axe for, which I actually thought... I realize now why they gave Geiz it, because both of them had an axe for a weapon. Granted, Wizard technically used the Wizard sword gun more than he did... I forget the name of his Wizard axe. I think it was the Wizard axe or something like that. I forget exactly what it's called. Or it was the Dragon axe. I forget exactly what it's called. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Wizard fan, so I don't remember all the names of stuff for him. Oh, but just you wait until we get to the Geiz stuff, because I'm going to talk about all of it, since Geiz is my favorite thing. Well, he's one of my favorite writers. I don't know if he's like my absolute favorite. And that probably goes to maybe Kuga? I don't know. I like a lot of writers. I'd probably say Kuga is probably my favorite of the first era of Heisei, the first decade of Heisei writers, and the second decade would be Double. Which it's kind of a shame, because apparently him and Deno are only going to show up in the movies. But anyway, but I liked the fact that like that was one of his finishers, and the other finisher he did when used in the Zcon or the time the Jiku driver. I don't know why used in the Jiku driver. It allowed him to enlarge his leg. When Kamen Rider Wizard would like use big, and so it extended his foot, and then the kanji for Gates on his... Well, no, not the kanji. The hiragana on his boot exploded and defeated him that way. I thought that was pretty cool. My only real complaint for these episodes is we don't get to see what the Beast or Ride Watch does, as he only as Kosuke only gives him the Wizard Ride Watch, but you could argue maybe he needed that in case Chimera would would like kill him without it or something. It's not really made clear. And also, especially, we don't see him with any of the forbidden fruit from the Helheim Forest, which he had gotten in the Great Sengoku War, which I thought was in canon, but then again, it's hard to argue it's hard to know which movies in the series are canon. Since there he recontracts with Chimera, which means he has to kill phantoms in order to survive, but there's no more phantoms, at least as far as we know. As I don't think there's any more gates currently. So he had to eat the Helheim fruit because they had the same energies as a phantom, and that allowed Kosuke to survive by taking some from the Helheim forest. Granted, he only had like a basket full, so I don't know how exactly he survived. I doubt he would have had enough for 6 years worth of fruit, or rather, technically I think it was 5 years, because Gaim takes place in 2013, so it would be 5 years. But even still, I doubt he had 5 years worth of Helheim fruit. Although you could argue that maybe Koda sends him fruit, since he can make that fruit himself. But anyway, that's more just trying to figure out how things work. But and so like we never get to see what the Beast Ride Watch does, and Kosuke goes off with it in the end anyways. So I don't exactly know how that works, especially since they need to collect all the Ride Watches. But then again, it might only matter that they have like the Wizard Ride Watch. Like they only need to have a watch of each one. That really, like, getting the secondary rider watches aren't nearly as important as the other ones. Except for the fact that in the next set of episodes that we're going to see Gates get his Genom Ride Watch. Or Genmu Ride Watch, rather. So, I don't know how that's going to work. But anyway, I do like this episode just because of the fact that Sogo shows that he really is wanting to be a Kamen Rider, that Kamen Rider powers are supposed to be used to protect people, that you're not supposed to use it for selfish reasons. Which I liked, as I think that showed just how much of a good person that Sogo actually is, and that really it's going to be more Waz's machinations or the Time Jacker stuff that's going to be what turns him into Omazeo. I really like seeing that because it shows that Sogo's a good person. I also liked seeing the interactions between Waz and Gates, as it shows furthermore that Gates clearly, or that Waz used to probably be a member of the Resistance, or that him, Gates, and Tsukuyomi like maybe worked for Omazeo, or that perhaps like they thought he was at first a good king, and then maybe he went evil or something. It's not really made clear, but other than that, like Tsukuyomi, Gates, and Waz know each other, and that Waz has some sort of powers, especially because him and Gates fight, and Waz talks about how he's never like that Gates has never been able to defeat him, and it does show, because we've seen a couple of times that Waz has some sort of power. It's not really made clear what those powers are, but it's probably hinting at stuff we saw in the scans, that he'll eventually become Kamen Rider Waz. Although I don't think that's pretty far off. I don't think we'll be seeing him become Kamen Rider Waz until like next year at best, especially since we haven't seen Gates's first, or Kamen Rider Zeo's first upgrade, which is the Decade Ride Watch, which allows him to gain the power-up forms of all the other Ride Watches, such as, for example, if he were to use the Build Ride Watch in conjunction with the Decade Ride Watch, it would allow him to become Build Armor Sparkling, which we haven't seen yet. So I doubt we're gonna get Waz becoming a Kamen Rider just yet. If we do, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I like Waz in this, that while he doesn't like the fact that Sogo is changing time, he's not worried. That he believes that Zeo will still become Omazeo and become his overlord. But at the same time, he still wants to help his king whenever he sees fit. It was also interesting seeing Gates and Sogo having to work together without Tsukuyomi there, since Tsukuyomi has been kind of what's keeping the two of them from really trying to kill each other. And we also get to see that the Time Jackers do not want Gates interfering, or Zeo for that matter. We see Aura convincing another wizard to be more ruthless, particularly when he finds out that the woman he's doing all this for is engaged to another man, and she doesn't understand his feelings, so he's driven crazy by the power furthermore. Although in the end, I do get, it's nice to see that he does change for the better, and that like Sogo uses his power to help change history in a way that will help others. Showing that he does want to be a good king, and he does want to help people, and that's why he wants to be a king. Although that further worries Gates, since he's using his powers to alter time, which is probably something Omazeo can do naturally. So it is interesting to see, like, for all the good Zeo does, it may actually end up backfiring on him. We'll see. But otherwise, it was just kind of interesting to see Sogo getting Gates and Waz to work together. We see, I can't think of his name, the purple Time Jacker. I know it's Wool or I want to say Schultz. I forget exactly what his name is, but he actually tries to kill Gates using his powers, which was interesting because we've still, like, the Time Jackers do have the ability to freeze time. And to alter it slightly. Like, Gates is standing on top of a building, so I want to say his name's Schultz. No, it's Schwartz. That's it, Schwartz. And we see Schwartz. Watch, I say that and then I'll find out I'm wrong. So Schwartz uses his powers to freeze him in place. Although Gates can kind of move while time is frozen. They reference this in the compendiums, but like, it seems that like Zeo and Gates do have slight immunity to time jacker time manipulation. They can't move, but they can they clearly know time has been frozen, and then they can slightly move their heads a little. I'm curious to see if they'll get like a ride watch that gives them the ability to bypass that. It would certainly be interesting, especially since the Time Jackers can use their powers to create time machines based on rider stuff. So, I'm curious to see how that will happen, especially because I know one of the ride watches that is just like basic gear is the Suika Time Watch, which is based off the Suika Lockseed from Kamen Rider Geiz, which I'm assuming is going to be used to turn the time machine into like the Suika like mech armor like we saw in Kamen Rider Geiz. Which I'm actually excited for. I like the fact that the time machine can like turn to a mech. It's a shame we've only really seen it like a very small handful of times yet so far, but I will admit once we get to the Geiz stuff, I'm excited to see how that's gonna play out. But yeah, and he almost does, if not for the fact that Waz saves him at the last minute using his scarf, which has magic abilities, or maybe perhaps Waz altered it. But yeah, it was interesting to see the Time Jackers being a little bit more proactive in trying to prevent the riders from stopping their another riders, and B, the fact that they're trying to make them actually have more of a demonic presence and desire to fight so that they can defeat Omazeo. I'm curious to see how that will play out. And like I said, this is actually a pretty good episode. It's a lot better than it was a lot better set of episodes than the Forze Fies arc. Just because of the fact it felt more like it was in tune with the series that they were homaging. It was a shame we didn't get to see Haruto in it, but we at least got to see Kosuke, and he was his usual wacky self, even putting mayonnaise on stuff. And I like that because like it has kanji on the ball. It says it's been a long time, like in reference to the fact that it's been a while since Kosuke's got to premiere. And I like seeing that like it still does kind of reference the hope thing, since the guy who became another rider wizard didn't want to give up, and you know his love gave him hope, and it's that kind of hope that Sogo used to save the day. And I will admit, I thought the fights were fun in this. I liked seeing the armor stuff. I liked seeing Sogo actually be proactive and use his power, and figure out a way to defeat the the another rider without resorting to the violent acts that Yates was going to do. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I will admit, I think the series is starting to get more, even in like the last arc, which I didn't like very well. I think that the series is starting to show more of the conflicts between all the different parties, and how Sogo is trying to at least perhaps find a common ground with Waz and Gates and Tsukuyomi, so that he can work together with them to prevent the Time Jackers from altering history. I'm curious to see how long the Time Jackers will last, especially since we've already gone through Build, Exade, Fies, Wizardo. Hold on. Build, Exade, Forze, Fies, Wizard. We've already gone through like a quarter of the Heisei Riders, so I'm curious to see how long, and it's only been like 8 episodes. I mean, and technically that's like 2 episodes an arc. We've gone through Build, Exade, Fies, Forze, and Wizard, and we've already gone through like 3 or 4 storylines, and we've already gone through like 5 ride watches. I'm just curious to see how that will go, especially because next episode, not only we're getting O's, but we're also getting Don Kuroto. We're getting him back for Exade, from Exade, and he's going to, and so we're gonna be getting both of them. I'm curious to see how exactly they're going to be able to stretch out the ride watch stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Everything's kind of up in the air right now with how the series is going to play out. I'm interested to see how much more they'll do and what's going to happen. I think Zio had a rocky start, but I think it's starting to at least be fun and at least trying to be kind of a decent homage to stuff. But we shall see how it goes. So that's going to be it for this week, guys. look, I might do a vlog once I get, since tomorrow My Hero One's Justice comes out. It's probably going to be a little bit because I need to play it some before I really give you guys a review. But otherwise, just expect to, in 2 weeks, see my review of the O's arc for Kamen Rider Zeo. I'm sorry that I'm doing bi-weekly, but I just think it's easier this way. I felt like I had more to talk about, doing this instead of doing it one episode at a time. And this way I can kind of take a break in between and not feel like I have to really rush out vlogs. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this bi-week of Kamen Rider. Look forward in 2 weeks when I review episodes 9 and 10. So until then, guys, I'm Zangetsu 134. Take care.